The key to the filming part of the book by book series is that each of them were filmed as live. They weren't done with lots of takes or anything like that. I mean, occasionally something might go wrong, there'd be a technical hitch, or I'd say something wrong and I'd just say, oh no, I've said that completely wrong. Can we just start again from that bit? That would very occasionally happen. But basically 95% of them, it's just as if they're live. The way we see them now, if you watch those film programs, that's just how it was filmed, just like that, with Richard asking the questions, us answering them, and then there'd be no stopping and starting for, say, 15 minutes, these three friends studying a part of the Bible with no editing during it. The editing came later, and that's of course a longer process, because after the day of filming there might be a month or two while film people would be editing. I don't know anything about that, doing all this editing, and then produce these ones for us to look at and check through the intro and the outro and subtitles and things like that. Again, I'm not very good at that. I was part of it and I'm not very good at paying attention to whether the subtitles are right or things like that. Others do all that. But on the day, the key to it really was that it was filmed as live. And that was important because it made us all a little bit energized, because it's not as if you could just stop it and then think, oh, how am I going to answer that? It's a lively conversation and you had to be on your toes, because sometimes, particularly for me, Richard was a bit kinder on the guest, but sometimes for me, I was preparing for what I thought was going to be the next question, but Richard would sometimes just say, Paul, have you got anything to add to that along these lines? And then I'd be like, oh, and then I'd have to quickly get ready and try to come up with a few bits and bobs for that. I always feel my real job was to kind of just fill up some of the time while Richard and the guests were doing the like serious work of the filming. But it was filmed as live, and I feel that was good to give an energy to it, but it always made it a little bit more stressful and quite exhausting by the end of it. I'd always be really tired by these things, the end of a day of filming. If it was a series of 6, we'd do all of them in one day, 6 of the programs in one day, and that would take us from maybe 10 o'clock in the morning through to 5 or 6 maybe, depending on how it all went, because then we'd film one and then there'd be a bit of time to get ready, stretch our legs a little bit. Sometimes it'd get very hot and we'd have to get a window open and that sort of thing. The whole thing might be 5 or 6 hours for the whole day. Sometimes we'd take a lunch break. Occasionally we didn't even do that, but mostly we took a lunch break, and that was quite important to the process of the day. But if it was a 10 series, that would be done over 2 days, 5 on each day. Or sometimes we tried to do 6 on one day and 4 on the other, because that way when you went to bed after the first day's filming, you knew you were over halfway. But that filmed as live was key to it, because it's the energy and it's a real conversation. It's not a fake thing. It's not acting. It's a real conversation between 3 people trying to understand the Bible together.